Once upon a time, in modern time, there was a guy named Kevin who was studying to become a minister at a college, and he had a professor that he was talking with. And the professor said, "Oh, you're very smart, very smart. I shall see you tomorrow. Oh, yes, remember to bring in your paper." So the professor leaves, and Kevin goes to his car. As Kevin is driving down the road in his car, his phone goes off, and he gets a call from a stranger.
Hello.
He says, "Hi, my name is Slater," in a very deep and gravelly voice. And he says, "There's a bomb in your car.
There's a bomb in your car.
If you don't solve this riddle, I will blow up your car in 3 minutes." And so he gives him the riddle. It's like, what falls but never breaks, and what breaks but never falls? Kevin's freaking out because he doesn't know what the answer is. It's about 3 minutes later, and he doesn't know what he's going to do, and suddenly he drives into a ditch so that no one will get hurt. He gets out of his car, and everyone's like, "Whoa, what the heck is wrong with you, man? You almost made me crash."
What is this?
And then he's like, "Oh, my car's about to blow up." And they're like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then they step away for a second, and bang! The car explodes. They're like, "Oh, he was telling the truth." So all the police get there, and they're like, "Oh, this is very strange." And they get all the information from him. But Kevin doesn't want to tell them the whole story because he has a very odd past. So he hides some stuff from them. Meanwhile, there's an FBI agent named Jennifer. And she is researching a known killer from the New England area that would tell riddles and then kill people when they didn't find out the riddles.
This is oddly familiar.
She sees the case of Kevin and is very intrigued. So she goes down to find, wherever Kevin lives. Meanwhile, back home, Kevin decides he's scared and he's going to call his best friend Sam. He calls Sam.
Hi, Sam.
"Hello, Sam. Would you please come? I'm really freaking out." She says, "Oh, sure. I'll come anytime you want me to." And so she says she'll fly down soon because she has to go down there anyway.
Yeah.
And she says, "Now be careful because Slater could be in your house."
Hello, pretzel person.
While Kevin is at home and freaking out, he gets another call on his phone. But this isn't just his phone. This is a phone that he found in a drawer that wasn't his phone, that Slater must have planted. He freaks out, but he picks up the phone anyway. And Slater says, "Hello, Kevin." And Kevin's freaking out the whole time. And he says, "I have another riddle for you." And it's something along the lines of, "Who was your best friend?" And Kevin's confused because, I've never had a best friend. Slater says, "You must make a confession to the news and I'll leave you alone." And Kevin's getting angry because he doesn't know what he has to confess. And so Slater hangs up, bye, and Kevin's freaking out at home. This time he has 3 hours. So Kevin decides, I know what it is. He gets in his car and he's driving. And he's driving to the place that he's hated most all of his life, his childhood home. Oh, and instead of walking in the front door, he just goes to the backyard to a pile of ashes. Big, big pile of ashes. The whole yard is full of ash, which I'll tell you later what that means. And he goes to the back. In the very corner, there's a doghouse. And a doggy comes out. At first, he's sort of scared because he doesn't like normal people, but then he sees it's Kevin, and he's all happy. And he goes out to Kevin. But then Kevin's aunt comes out of the house. And she says, "What are you doing on my property? I told you to leave. I didn't want you to come back." And then Kevin's sort of mentally handicapped cousin comes out, and he's so happy to see Kevin. He says, "Oh, Kevin, how are you?" And they have a grand old time. This whole time, the aunt is yelling at the dog, "Get back inside." So the dog gets back into its doghouse. A few seconds later, 3 hours is up. Bang! Doghouse goes away. And doggy's dead. So that was the answer to the second riddle.
I win! I took his head off!
But anyway, Sam is here, and he goes downstairs, and Sam comes in, and she's like, "Oh, we need to look for some cameras from this guy, because he probably is watching you and listening to you every moment." So he's freaking out the whole time. And so they go around the house, and they find some cameras and stuff. And so Slater had obviously been watching Kevin for a long time now. And so Sam puts everything in the sink so that the FBI people and the police people will look at them, and they'll find the fingerprints. And then the phone rings again. Pick up the phone, Kevin. Kevin picks up the phone, and there's a riddle.
What takes you there but never takes you nowhere?
So Kevin and Sam get in the car, and they drive. This whole time they're talking to Jennifer. On the other end of the phone is Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
And they're like, okay, we need help on this riddle. And they're like, okay, this guy obviously likes threes, so it has to do with 3, I bet. And so they're thinking, what takes you somewhere, nowhere, blah, 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 blah. Bus! So they go into town, and they're driving down this, and they're trying to find a bus with a 3 in it. But it turns out it's not the bus with the 3. Sharp turn right. And then they see that they're on 3rd Street. Aha, this must be it.
This is it.
And all of a sudden they see the bus. They run to the bus. Everyone get out of the bus. There's a bomb on the bus. Now obviously everyone had been freaking out because the past 2 days there's been bombs going off everywhere. So they're like, okay, everybody get out. And they get out. And as they're walking back to the car and everyone's far away from the bus, all of a sudden, bang! Boom! Bus blows up. And everyone's freaking out the whole time. Sam calls Jennifer and is like, Jennifer, you need to get down here fast. The bus just blew up. But she's like, I have to go somewhere, so I'll be back. And Sam leaves. Bye, Sam. So Kevin's there, and Jennifer's like, what happened, Kevin?
What is this?
He's like, I got another riddle, and it was so horrifying. And this whole time, Jennifer thinks that she's falling in love with him for some reason, and she doesn't know why.
Reminds her brother.
Oh yeah, it reminds her of her brother, who died by the riddle killer in New England. That's a separate story. Anyway, so they get into the car, and they get into the
Blub, 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 blub.
Oh,
you messed it up! Then you
Kevin wakes up. His home phone is called now, and Slater's like, I have one last message for you. This time, you have like a full day, I believe it is. You have a full day to solve my riddle. And Kevin finally decides he doesn't want Sam getting hurt, or Jennifer. And so he decides to run away.
Run, run, run!
And the cops can't track him. So as he's running away, he's trying to figure out what this 4th thing is. On his way, he grabs a gun. And he finally remembers where Slater could possibly be. Put down the gun, sir. And he goes to the bomb shelter, and Slater's there waiting for him. And then Slater takes back this curtain, and there's all these pictures of Sam. Whoa, he's total creeper. And Slater's yelling at Kevin like, Kevin, you're so innocent.
You're so innocent.
I hate innocence.
I hate innocence.
I hate it so bad.
Oh, I hate it so bad.
Kevin's like, why? I didn't do anything wrong. I don't have anything to confess.
Dad, don't you dare do that to me ever again.
Meanwhile, Sam is trying to help Kevin, but she doesn't know where Kevin is. And so they went to the bomb shelter. Blah, 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 blah. She opened the door. She was really quiet. She's like, I hope they don't see me. And she goes down, and it's really, really dark. She goes yelling, and she sees 2 pairs of feet. Oh my gosh, Slater's actually real, and it's not just Kevin.
Oh!
So she calls Jennifer. She's like, Jennifer, okay, I need to tell you something. Kevin, yeah, he's not Slater. Like, just so you know.
Okay.
And Jennifer's like, okay, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then switch the scene to Professor and Jennifer. Professor and Jennifer are discussing whether Slater could be possibly Kevin could be possibly Slater. And they're like, yeah, he could be. That would make so much sense. And then like, wait, he could be Sam too. And then everything starts falling into place, blah, 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 blah. They run and they find out the bomb shelter must be the answer because it's the basement of Kevin's house. They go to his house. They see Kevin there arguing with himself. He has blood on him because he's been shooting himself, obviously. He's been really weird. And so then they're like, Kevin, you have to let go of Slater and Sam and blah, blah, blah. So they let go of, he finally lets go of Sam. And meanwhile, Slater's freaking out. It's like, don't let go of me. No, I want to be your best friend. And so then Slater ends up going away too. And it's just Kevin all by himself. And then Jennifer says, Kevin, I will always love you. Even though you have MPD and you're so weird. And so at the end of the story, good versus evil, there's a big long story about it. You should read the book. It's very nice. The end.
Guys, I need some pretzels.
Nice house. Nobody home.